Hey everybody, this is Max March-Steinman, USA Track and Field Level 2 Jumps Coach. I'm going to be talking to you today a little bit about the assessments that you can use when you're looking to see if your athletes are ready for plyometrics or jumping drills. Typically we call these clat tests, and what clat tests are just ways of measuring kind of the strength and stability of your athletes. So you put them into 3 different positions, what we call standing, quarter squat, and half squat positions, and in these positions they'll either be on one leg or 2 legs. So the first position we can talk about is standing position. It's just kind of your H position in figure skating. You raise your knee, right, to have a 90 degree angle, and you just try to have your athletes hold this position as long as they can. What you're looking for is upright postural integrity, not a lot of rounding either direction. You're looking for good hip flexion, so the knee should come up about 90 degrees, and you're looking for good stability, making sure that the athlete isn't rocking too much as they're moving. Okay? It's a little bit easier to do this on harder ground because soft ground means you need to stabilize a lot more. What you're looking for in your pre-preliminary athletes is just being able to hold this position even a few seconds. So I would say about 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That's good enough for pre-juvenile athletes, or preliminary athletes rather, to be able to do some of the very beginning plyometric drills. For your preliminary athletes, what you're looking for is being able to hold this position about 20 seconds. And then for your pre-juvenile athletes, this position should be held about 30 seconds. From there, you go to the quarter squat progression, and the quarter squat progression is coming down about 45 degrees. You want the weight for the athletes to be more on their heels than on their toes. You want them to have sufficient hip flexion without leaning forward too much, and you want their knees to be bent a little bit around 45 degrees. You want to see that the shoulders are tracing right over the knees, and that the athlete can hold this position as well with no shaking, no deviation, no moving their knees in and out, on 2 legs before you progress them to 1 leg. The tests that you would use here are for your juvenile and your intermediate athletes. You do a quarter squat on 1 leg. You want them to trace their opposite leg out. It should be hovering right above the ground or just placed very lightly on the ground, and the weight should be on the heel of the standing foot, and you want the athlete or the figure skater to be able to hold this position again for anywhere between 10 seconds and 30 seconds. And that's going to determine whether they're a juvenile athlete or ready for the more intermediate exercises. The third position that you want your athletes to hold is a half squat position, and this is the same sort of thing. The shoulders should be over the knees, you want sufficient hip flexion, and you want about a 90 degree angle of the thigh. Here you want the athletes to be really making sure that they're feeling it more in their glutes and in their hamstrings than in the quads, and you want the chest to be nice and upright. The athlete should be able to hold this position 30 seconds before moving on to the tests, and these tests are going to be for the novice and senior athletes. And for the novice and senior figure skaters, what you have them do is you have them do the 90 degree half squat on 1 leg. You just have them sit down, and you see how long they can hold this position. 10 seconds or so means they're ready for novice activities, and around 30 seconds means they'd be ready for the most advanced of activities. If the athlete can't hold these positions, you should regress them around 1 level, and if the athlete is excelling in these positions, so let's say I have a pre-preliminary athlete who has really good postural integrity and can hold their quarter squat, I can progress them 1 level. So instead of pre-preliminary exercises, they would just be doing preliminary exercises.
If this was helpful, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. See you soon!